Hey everyone, Aiden Studios here, and I've let the meta set for a while now, and I'm gonna do another tier list of Clash Royale. And I've decided I'll include the Super Mini Packer and the Barbarian Launcher. Well, that's to the end though. They don't really matter because they're not a main part of the game. Also, this has the Phoenix and the Monk, so it is a properly updated list. And as you know, they're both broken, but I'll save them for. Actually, I'll put them random like that. Okay. S broken. A exceptionally good. B is slightly above average. C is average to a bit worse. D needs a buff. It's garbage. Archers. C. Not in the meta really. Only in 3.0 Expo and other Expo decks. But they usually aren't that good anyways. Arrows, A. Really good small spell, fit in a lot of beatdown decks, fit in a lot of, many tank decks as well. Take out air and swarms and that. Great spell for free elixir. Baby Dragons, B, because I feel like a lot of the decks where you can use a baby dragon, you could just use a Phoenix instead, because Phoenix is just so broken at the moment. You could, like in Splash Yard, Golem, even Alexa Golem, maybe, if you see Baby Dragon in that, but yeah, it's just absolutely crazy, yeah. But Baby Dragon is still solid, and once that Phoenix gets a nerf, it will be back in A tier, I bet. Balloon. Go B. Because the Phoenix is a pretty solid counter to the Balloon, and Balloon, I mean, the Hound is still good, but Lumberloon Freeze is not really the best. I don't know, I could change that last minute, I don't know. Bandit, A. Great card, used in a huge variety of decks. Many opportunities for defense, counter push, all that. Barbarian Barrel, A tier. Really good small spell. Not as good as a log. Log is like the best small spell you can have, but Barbarian Barrel is still good in the decks it's in. Splash Yard, beatdown decks. The like really. Barbarian Hut, C. Because the rework was a slight buff, but right now the meta isn't really. I don't think it's not that good. It's not good enough. I say what they've done was a great change. I think give it some time and it will have its place in the meta at some point. Barbarians are C because they're just only used in one deck, that's Lava Hound. Even then, you could replace them, that's the problem. A 5 elixir, die to Fireball. They're just not that good. I don't really use them. If I would have a Hound deck, I'd just rather have guards, to be honest. Bats are A, because they've always been solid, really. There's never really been a time where they've been bad. Good cheap air swarm to elixir. Most of the time you'd want them over minions. Minions do worse than the bats, yeah. Battle Healer is interesting because with the E-Golem and Phoenix, it's actually strong, but in other decks, D. So I'll give it overall a D because it only works in one deck, and even then I think that will not work soon because they're probably going to nerf a bunch of the cards in E-Golem. Like, the reasons are just the Monk and the Phoenix. They're making E-Golem good. Like, in classic challenges, all I see is E-Golem with Monk and Phoenix. And it gets really boring. Battle Ram. B. I'll say. I'll give it B. Because it is used in quite a few bridge spam decks, and there it does its job. It's on its own you wouldn't use it, but with another win condition, it's solid. It's solid. Bomber B, because I feel like it's been dropping out a little bit. Like drill bomber hasn't been used that much because the drill is so much worse than what it was before because of the goblin hit speed nerf. But it's still fine. But it's just the decks that it's in aren't as strong as they were before. Bomb tower, I think's B. And yeah, I know Cannon and Tesla are probably better, but I like bomb tower because it applies that ground splash damage, and it's not that bad against tanks. Like in golem pushes, like you can use it and it does a good job against that because it can splash the Night Witch. And usually it's with poison, like in minor poison decks, so it does really well against beatdown and defends a lot of things, even like E-Golem. Bowler C. Actually B. Yeah. I don't know. What? No. No. Yeah, C. Because again, graveyard. People are using monk graveyard, so there's not really much reason to use a bowler. And also in Lumberloon Freeze, I mean it is used there, but again it's not that good. Yeah, bowler's not really doing well. Cannon Cut, we'll put it in B. The health nerf did make a bit of an impact on it when it got that 7% cannon form nerf. To be honest, I mean, it doesn't change too many things, but like it's really noticeable. It gets that one less hit because of the health nerf being quite significant. Cannon A, no longer S. It's no longer. I say you could probably argue that the Tesla is kind of as good as the Cannon, at least in my opinion. But yeah, I'll get to that. Clone D, not that good. Pretty bad right now. That's all she wrote. Dark Prince A, really good card. Charge is amazing. The splash damage. Pairs well in many sorts of decks. Yeah. Dark Goblins A, almost S. I want to say almost S. It's incredibly annoying, and on defense it does it really well. In log bait, you pretty much would want to use a Dark Goblin most of the time over a Princess. It's just really good. Earthquake, I go A. I think Hog Earthquake and Hog and just Earthquake decks like Hog Earthquake and other ones are still pretty solid and reliable, even though the Earthquake got that huge Crown Tower damage nerf. I say it's still a really good card. Electro Dragon, I'll put it in C because again, I mean E-Golem has been coming back, but it's just not that good. On defense though, it can get some good value, like with its free chain attack, but even then I'd probably much rather just have like a Phoenix. Electro Giant B tier because the Phoenix does make a good synergy with the E-Giant, and I've seen a deck go around where it's the Phoenix, E-Giant, the Mirror, and Pump. Speaking of which, the Mirror and the Alexa Pump are two interesting cards right now. I'll get to them. Electro Spirit, A. Cycle decks, roll giant decks, decks where it doesn't matter about king activations. Really good. it's one Elixir, it's good cycle card and all that. Electro Wizard, B. Solid defensive unit, I'd say. Good on offense, good on defense. That's all I can say really. Elite Barbarians, put it in B. Bridge Spam, Three Musketeers, what else? Just that really, but in that it does its job well. Archer Queen, I still think S tier, second best champion, right behind the monk, because the monk is insanely strong. But again, I'm sorry, I'll get to him. Yeah, the Archer Queen, insane value, like one elixir. You basically get nearly 2,000 damage for one elixir, which is just insane to think about in that kind of aspect. Pump, I'm gonna put in C, because the Phoenix Monk decks with the mirror and the pump are really annoying, but you can with practice learn how to defend them. Elixir Golem, again on its own it's not that good, but with the Phoenix and Monk, I'll put it in D. It's just it's not that good, but it is really really good with the Phoenix and the Monk, because the Monk reflects rockets and spells and that, except for things like Poison. Poison are really good against the golem pushes. Executioner, put it in B. I'm really starting to like Executioner. I might be a bit biased, but Hog Executioner is becoming one of my main decks, or my main deck. And I really am starting to see the potential with the Executioner. I think he could come back one day as the main meta card. He's much better than Wizard. Don't use Wizard, use Executioner. Fireball, S. Best big spell in the game. Even though the knockback nerf did kind of affect its utility a bit, but it's still a great card. Still the best big spell. Firecracker, put it in C. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, Executioner does well against the Phoenix as well. So that's good. Firecracker C. Even though yes, she does get good king activations, and she can be really bad. She is good at countering the Phoenix. And she can actually activate the king on defense against a monk. She shoots at the monk with the ability up, and then she attacks herself, which splashes the king. So I like that interact. I'll give it a C. It's probably a C minus, but it's still a C. Fire Spirit. I don't know, because I've been starting to use the Ice Spirit, and I've been preferring that, to be honest. I'll put it in A. I mean, it's again one elixir, good cycle actually. I'll tell you what. Fine, I'll put it in S because of its insane damage. But you can either really choose Ice Spirit for the stun, Fire Spirit for the damage, or Electro Spirit for the crowd control. But I'd probably go Ice Spirit out of all of them. But Fire Spirit is still insane. Still insanely strong in its own right. Fisherman. B. Roll Giant decks, really, you'd see it. But Roll Giant is insanely good right now. Insanely good. With the ones with the Ghost or the Royal, the Archer Queen, all of that. Lightning. It's just really good, really good. Flying Machine, B. Not too many decks, but I think it's kind of an underrated card because of its ability to snipe across the river You can use it against buildings to snipe them. Like an Electro Giant, it's not too bad because it snipes buildings. Freeze. C, because Graveyard Monk freeze is a thing, and to be honest, I think, yeah, I think that's kind of keeping it alive. To be honest, other than that, freeze is not that good. Furnace garbage. Giant. C. Not really a giant meta, to be honest. The monk is a good counter to the giant because of the knockback. It's just not that good. Giant skeleton. B. It is a solid defensive card, but again, I feel like the monk is kind of like stopped the giant skeleton from being prevalent. You still do see it occasionally, but I feel like, again, like in hog decks, you would probably rather use a monk. Goblin Hut, bad. Goblin Barrel, I would have said A, but the nerf is a B. Still, Log Bait isn't dead, it's still alright, but the barrel gets much less damage than before. Like those times where it would get that one little stab, that would probably never happen anymore. Because of the goblins rework, and them nerfing the stab goblins and all of the cards. Goblin Cage, C. It's not really that good, and you see it in a couple decks, like Recruit Pigs. What else? Maybe an E-Giant deck or two. It's not really that good. Drill, B. Again, the first attack has really kind of hurt it. Times where it'd get one hit wouldn't happen again because of and yeah, it's just not that good. Not as good as it was before, at least. You could still probably use it and make it work. Goblin Gang, A. Well, it's jumped from D to A. So ever since that buff with the one spear goblin has made a huge difference. Gang finally feels viable again. You don't have to use guards anymore in these decks. Like I've seen lava decks with the gang. I've seen roll giant decks with the goblin gang. I've seen all sorts of brand new decks pop up in the meta with the gang. Goblin Giant, B, no, actually C, because Goblin Giant Sparky isn't that good right now because of the monk and the reflection ability. Because you can reflect Sparky, and the shot will go back and kill the Sparky. It's just not that good. Goblins, S. You heard that. They went from D to S with one extra stab goblin. On defense, they are nuts, and they actually are a rival to skeletons now. So you actually can make the change. You can change. Like there are many decks now that have goblins rather than skeletons. In fact, I've been seeing skeletons less ever since the goblins buff. I feel like it feels like when the skeletons had four skeletons, but it's now 4 goblins. 4 goblins for 2 elixir makes it a much better justification than 3 skeletons for 1 elixir. I still say skeletons are S though, but I'll get to that. Golden Knight. I feel it's I'm not sure actually. Put it because the monk is overshadowed a lot. I'll put it in S. Once the monk gets another nerf, it will definitely be S, so I'll put it in S. Insane, the dash ability gets loads of value on defense, offense, and all that. Just a great card. Golem, C. I don't think it's as good as it was before because of all because Yeah, there's just other cards you can use, like other win conditions. Graveyard's S needs a nerf right away. The RNG is a big problem because when you have randomness, it's just unfair. Sometimes the graveyard can get no hit, sometimes it can get like 700 damage out of nowhere, and it's just ridiculous. I think the RNG needs a nerf, like removing. It needs a pattern. Guards, B, Goblin Gang have kind of taken over their spot. Guards are still good, but Gang is more damage for less reliability because the guards have the shield. Heal Spirit, put it in B. I remember when it had the giant heal radius, and it was like the best card in the game. But now it's B. It's been B for like years, but it's B. It's still solid. Hog, I feel like it's B again because all these other win conditions. Actually, put it in A. It's not. I wouldn't say it's S. Hog is like one of the most balanced cards in the game. Like one that everyone can use and use it fairly. Hunter, B, Raw Giant again. But it does appear in a few other decks. Like I think Free Musk has it sometimes. But yeah, it's great. It's a good card. Ice Golem. C, not that good. Rather have something like a Valkyrie. I wouldn't really have an Ice Golem. And yeah, there you go. It's broken. Keeps respawning. Egg is just ridiculous. It has too many mechanics, I think. Like death damage, being able to be revived, has a really fast hit speed. Like 2 shots log of all troops, pretty much, or nearly 1 shots them. It's just crazy. Like Ice Spirit, I want to say S, but I know that no one would agree on that. So I put A. A, I think, is a fair place. It's just really solid on defense. One elixir, the cycle aspect. Ice Wizard B, because Splash Yard is coming back into the meta, and it's just dominating right now. So obviously Ice Wizard being in that deck, he's obviously going to make a comeback. Infinite Dragons A, great on defense, great on offense against air and all that. Inferno B, you can, and because it doesn't reflect itself with the monk ability, it's actually good. Like both of the Infernos, they don't reflect back, so you could actually, you could use the both. Knight, I'd probably say is C, because there are just so many 4 elixir mini tanks that are just so much better than the Knight right now, and if you use any of them, you're probably going to have much better time than you are using the Knight. Hound, I'll say it's A, because it's air, and Hound's just always been solid, really. There's never been a time where I'd say Lava Hound's been bad, or just straight up out of the meta, because it's always been in the meta. Lightning, A tier. Insanely good spell in beatdown decks. The hell is this in my pocket? Oh, shit. God, I'm tired. Oh. Yeah, because of the kills buildings, kills defensive units. Log is S, best small spell. The knockback is really good. I think Log does need a nerf. People say it doesn't because it's a necessity index, but that's like saying you don't want to kill someone because of You don't want to kill Hitler because he was a necessity to history. I mean, like, no, never mind. I'm just so tired. Like, honestly, fuck. Lumberjack D, not good. I mean, Lumberling Freeze, he's not that good. Been out of Golem decks. Magic Archer A, Bagonite C. If you're mid ladder, then shut the fuck up, because it's a bad card. Mega Minion B, great on defense. Used in quite a fair amount of decks like Hound and some Goblin Giant decks as well. Mighty Miner, the meta, it's just not. I put it in B to be honest. It's not. It's just not that good. Actually, it's not. It's fine, but it's not nearly as good as the other champions. I put it in A. I changed my mind. B is a bit too harsh. It's definitely still kind of viable in decks, but like, there's no. Yeah, I don't know. Just use the other champions. Miners in A. Look, we got both miners in A. Yeah, miner's always been great card. Used to be a win condition. Now he's kind of like a like a secondary win condition. You wouldn't rely on him on his own for damage. Minion Horde. D, trash. Minions. B, much better. Because they're much more reliable. Your opponent's not likely to arrows 3 minions or fireball 3 minions. Even though it's like fireballing archers, but who cares? Mini P.E.K.K.A. A. Great on defense, great on offense. Defends against a lot of things like hog riders and miners. Mirror, put it in B to be honest, because Mirror Phoenix is just absolutely broken and insane. Like, but that's really it, really. And E-Giant Mirror kind of being used as well. Well, actually, I'll put it in C. Mortar, A. I wouldn't say it's S anymore because of the health nerf. It would have been 13 or like 14%, but it only got 7%, but I still think that was enough. Some people might disagree, but I don't know. Mother Witch, B. Again, Graveyard's being used a ton, and Mother Witch obviously spawning skeletons is going to be a good counter, isn't it? Musk, A. Used in loads of decks. You know, bloody blah. Night Witch, B. Loads of counters in the meta, really. And Golden Beatdown isn't as good as it was before. Packers C. Packer decks are kind of struggling in the meta right now. Poison, A. Used with Graveyard a ton. Like, Poison and Graveyard are like best friends. Monk Graveyard as well. Just loads and loads of decks that have Poison. That minor Poison Monk Phoenix deck is also insanely good as well. And, yeah, I don't even need to explain. He is so strong. God. Super Soul, you fucking idiots. Prince, C. Dark Prince is much better. You pretty much want to use that in all your decks rather than Prince. Princess, B. Logbait is alright, but I'd rather use it with the Dark Goblin. With Princess, it's not too bad, but I'd rather just have the Dark Goblin. Rage, C, because E-Golem is kind of coming back, and that's about it really. But I think Rage with E-Golem is just insane. Like, oh my god. Ram Rider, B. I think Ram Rider needs a buff so it can be a more competitive win condition. To compare against other ones. Like I think Hog is kind of dominating much more than the Ram Rider. I wouldn't mind seeing a Ram Rider buff. Rascal C. Rocket. So I'm surprised because I thought Monk would kill the card, but it's not because he can still rocket the towers and get away with it in like different scenarios and that. Delivery B. Underrated card. Used in a fair amount of decks. Is great on defense. The impact damage does a lot actually. Ghost A. I almost want to say S. In fact, nah, I can't. Nah, I don't want to say S. It's just it's so annoying. I think it does need a small nerf. Royal Giant S. One of the best win conditions. One of the best cards in the game right now. It's slowly been climbing up the list and it's reached the top. Royal Hogs. A2. Actually, no. No. What am I saying? No, B. Nah, a bit worse after the nerf. The first attack speed nerf. Because they used to get almost guaranteed damage each time. Royal Recruits. C. Again, one deck. Recruits. They're just not that versatile at all. You just can't use them in many decks. Apart from like the split lane archetypes. Skeleton Army B pairs well with Skeleton King. The charges bar and using things like Giant Graveyard and that as a surprise defensive unit. If the opponent doesn't have a small spell, then Skull Army is basically going to be like one of the best defensive cards in the whole game. Skilly Barrel is D, not that good, don't like it. Skeleton Dragons are B. Again, I think they're really balanced card. Because they do a lot of damage, but they can be easily countered on their own. So in a beatdown push, they benefit. Skeleton King's S, because of graveyard decks, Splash Yard being a huge thing in the meta. I just feel like the Skeleton King, along with the Monk in graveyard decks, are just really, really strong. Skeletons at S, don't need to explain. 1 Elixir, cheap cycle card, many positive trades. Snowballs B, Sparky C, Spear Goblins are A. Tesla A, I'd say. I've been recently trying out Tesla and I think it's really solid because the Monk doesn't reflect it. Has more health than the cannon, attacks air, and it can hide underground from spells for 1 more elixir. I'd say it's probably just as good as the cannon, but you could make an argument. Put it in the comments. Free Musk C. The Monk is kind of a double-edged sword. It really counters Free Musketeers, but it can also pair well with the Free Musketeers to reflect spells and reflect different attacks. Tombstone's A. Again, Splash Yard. Makes it one of the best buildings in the game. Tornado A. Used in so many decks, I can't name them all. E-Giant Splash Yard. Miner. Hog Executioner. So many. Valkyrie A. Warbreakers B. Witch D. Wizard D. Expo is C. Again, Monk. I always want this D because the Monk is it's another counter to Expo. Expo needs a buff, like, because it just gets countered so easily now by Monk. It's basically nearly impossible to play and get success. Zap is at A, really great defensive card. Zap is B. And just for a laugh, I had these two on. I mean, you're never going to see them pretty much again in challenges, except for the one occasional 1 or 2. But yeah, that's it. That's my tier list. I'm insanely tired and I'm going to bed. Good night.